All right, Jenna, I'm not going to kill Harbaugh for this call. This was not the Brandon Staley / Nick Wright foolishness of a week ago, okay? This wasn't that bad. I would have gone for it, however. I would have gone for the extra point, and here's why. I thought the Ravens had all the momentum. All right, they were playing at home. They had just scored 14 unanswered points. Obviously, Tyler Huntley was hot at a 75-yard drive, a 49-yard drive. Yep. You got the best kicker in the NFL, one of the best kickers of all time. And I get you don't want to face Aaron Rodgers in overtime, but the possession before, they had forced him to a 3-and-out, and the possession before that, they had held him to a field goal. So, again, I thought they had all the momentum. Now, they ran the play. I didn't really like the play call because I felt the rollout kind of shrank the field for Huntley, and he didn't really have a lot of places to go. But I didn't like that throwing the double coverage. But if you look at it, you can see Hollywood Brown is wide open in the back of the end zone. We're going to highlight him. That was it. So I got to give Harbaugh credit both times. Pittsburgh, when Lamar missed Mark Andrews, and there, when Huntley misses Hollywood Brown in the back of the end zone. Those two games, they could have won on the two-point conversions. Just unfortunately, the backup missed this guy. But I would have kicked the extra point and fought for my chances in overtime, Mike.
Yeah, I'm with you, Chris, man. I think it was a great play call. And let me start off by giving, Tyler Huntley his props. Let me give him his flowers because he went toe-to-toe with Aaron Rodgers, and that's not an easy thing to do versus a tough defense at that. And I agree with you. It was a great play call. He obviously forced it to Mark Andrews. He had the hot hand, but if he goes through his progression, extend the play, stretch the play, then he'll find Hollywood Brown. I think that's what you got to do on a two-point conversion. You got to exhaust all options and possibilities. But I'll take my chances going for two, trying to get 2 yards, then putting the ball back in the Aaron Rodgers' hands any day. It just makes more sense than the hell with what the analytics say, or should you go for it or should you not at any point in time of the game where it's close. Look, go for it. It's a great play call. The same thing a couple weeks ago. It was a great play call versus Pittsburgh. It was just a lack of execution, and I can live with that. Of course, you're going to have to answer to the critics, and it might not go over so well, but I agree with the two-point conversion.
Yeah, I think the call on this one was very, very close, like as close to a coin flip as you can get. And I'll explain the analytics side of it because this wasn't really an analytics decision in a moment. But Wilds, just first, maybe you can help me out with this. What do we do? How are we going to determine the bye or home field or seeding in the NFC? Because now the Packers have what I'm told is a loss that doesn't count because they had their backup quarterback, but now a win that I assume doesn't count because they were against a backup quarterback. So I'm not sure how this works. Like they didn't actually lose to the Chiefs. It was a close game. Their backup. But now the Ravens, it was a close game. It was their backup without their MVP. So I'm not sure what the Packers' real record is. Is it 11-3 or is it 10-2 actually? We'll have to look into it. On the call, though, the reason this Wilds is so different than the Pittsburgh call. The Pittsburgh call to me was a no-brainer. And the reason this one is more of a coin flip is the amount of time left. And this is why analytically it's kind of split. If you got the two-point conversion against Pittsburgh, it's 12 seconds left. It's game over. The reason this is actually somewhat frowned upon by like the hard data community, the two-point conversion in this spot, is if you succeed, you're adding urgency to the Packers. The Packers now are in 4-down territory with plenty of time, 42 seconds left, to try to get in field goal range. Right. If you just kick the extra point, they're going to be way more conservative. So if we want to get really into like the analytical part of it, the right decisions probably go for 2 with a previous touchdown. But that to me speaks to Harbaugh's point that he's not always following the raw numbers. Because the raw numbers say, without a doubt, down 14 in the fourth quarter, score a touchdown, go for 2. He didn't do that there. This one to me, I could go either way on it. I understand not wanting to go into overtime with Tyler Huntley versus Rodgers, but I also don't want to give Rodgers, 42 seconds feeling like he has to get in field goal range. You might not get to overtime anyway.
So if I would kick it. And I would kick it in all these scenarios. I'm not mad at Belichick for kicking it. I think Staley would have beaten the Chiefs if they kicked it, and I would have kicked it here. So, Broussard, put all of the advanced analytics aside, even though I do think the pendulum has swung too far in the analytics side of things. Here's the other raw data. The Ravens aren't good at getting two-point conversions. They were 2 for 7 before that one. They missed this one. Now they're 2 for 8. So rather than debate whether or not it's the right decision, I think Harbaugh has to look at himself and be like, hey, are we making the right calls? Are we good at this at all? And I know people want to give Boy Scout medals on aggressiveness as if that is something to be so, we want to be aggressive. We have the game right there. I don't buy it. I subscribe to the weird stuff happens. And I would just keep extending the game and wait for something weird to happen. I know, Aaron Rodgers on the sideline, sure. But you know what? Weird stuff happens. If he's able to drive down into field goal range with 40 seconds left and they beat us on a field goal, I'm okay with that. You don't get any points for being aggressive, especially if you're not good at it. So I would have kicked it. I would have kicked it in all of these scenarios, Broussard.
I think that's a great point. And the fact is, we don't know, would they have beaten Pittsburgh had they gone to overtime? Would they have won yesterday in overtime? We don't know. But what we do know is that they're now out of the playoffs. They're not in the playoffs right now. They had control of this division a few weeks ago. Now they are out of the playoffs. And again, Harbaugh made, whether we can question to go for it or not, but the play calls look like they were there and they just didn't execute. But at the end of the day, he's going to have to be the one to answer for that. And Mike, I want to toss this to you. Where do you think the Ravens are at mentally right now? All the injuries, they're now out of the playoffs. They have lost these last couple of games, in these dramatic fashions. Where do you think they're at mentally for these last few games that they clearly need to win?
Oh, now, Chris, is a sense of desperation. You put yourself in a bind, and they've put themselves in this position mainly because of two decisions that's been made. Aggressive decisions and most likely decisions that's going to be talked about for the 2021 season, but that's the bed they made. Now they got to lay in it. So what they have to do now is just continue to fight. They got to win out. They got to win out and pray that, situations around them and teams around them, they fall. And if they don't, then they'll be kicking themselves in the rear for a long time behind, a lot of things that transpired this season. But they had their chances, but they're going to be very desperate moving forward.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.